Welcome. This is the Cisco CCNA3-ENSAv7, also known as the Enterprise Networking Security and Automation course. This course focuses on the CCNA version 7 curriculum. This is course 3 of 3. Welcome. In this video, we're doing lab 2.7.1 single area OSPFv2 configuration. First and foremost, I have the new packet tracers have the diagram and the instructions combined. I have this diagram off screen, so if you're doing this and you're following along, I would suggest writing this down. Makes it a lot easier than flipping back and forth. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Read the objectives, read the background, read the instructions. So we're using router ID, or the process ID of version 10 for OSPF. We are going to be doing BC1, BC2, BC3, and they're going to be using router IDs 6666, 5555, 4444, and whatnot. So, active OSPF using network statements and inverse masks on the routers in the headquarters network. So we're going to be doing headquarters network first. So first things first, I did a snippet because I wanted to draw. So I wanted my blue pen. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we're asking the question, what network statements does each router directly know about? So P2P2 knows about these networks. P2P1 knows about these networks. P2P3 knows about these networks. BC1 knows about these networks. BC2 knows about these networks. BC3 knows about these networks. So we're going to have to do I'll do a red pin. This is going to have to be a default designated route that we're going to propagate more than likely. But this should at least give you some basic understanding of how we're going to be programming these different networks. What I do is I actually get a notepad and I start writing them down. So what I'm going to do is P2P DAC2. I'm going to write down the networks and the inverse masks and go from there. Alright, so I went ahead and I got all the networks. So P2P1 knows about these 3 networks. P2P2 knows about 4 networks. P2P3 knows about 1, 2, 3 networks. BC1 knows about 1, 2 networks. BC2 knows about 2 networks. BC3 knows about 3 networks, or knows about these 2 networks, 192.168.5.0 and 10.0.1.0/29. I've done the wildcard mask. You should already know how to do wildcard masks. If you don't, let me know. I'll get you a video on how to do that. Alright, so before we begin, I want to read through the rest of this. So, on the data service network, we're going to be setting up this information. Next, OSPF, so that router updates are not sent to the networks that they're not required. So basically, don't send them on the LANs. Configure BC1 at the highest OSPF interface priority. Configure default routes to the ISP cloud. Automatically distribute the default route to everyone. So we'll be doing that on BC1. Configure the OSPF routers so that the gigabit interface will cost 10 and fast Ethernet cost will be 100. And then configure OSPF cost value for P2P1 interface serial 011 to be a cost of 50. And then we're going to go ahead and configure hello timers for P2P1 and BC1. So we're going to do all of that in one fell swoop. So first things first, I'm going to hop on P2P1, get to my global configuration. I wanted to read through them so I can do all the steps at once. So first things first, I'm going to do serial interface, serial 1/1, IP OSPF, cost 50, interface serial 0/2/0. I'm going to manipulate the hello timer, so IP OSPF, hello timer. I wanted us to double them, so that's what I'm going to do. IP OSPF, dead interval is 80. So I've set up my timer aspect. Next, I'm going to be setting up my router OSPF, so router, back one, router OSPF, we're giving it the process ID of 10. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the auto cost reference. We're going to give it 1,000. That will give us the appropriate costs. You're going to get a warning message because we have to do that for all of them. Now we have a few network statements. So network statements. Area 0 on all of them. Because that way we can just copy and paste. Nope, that's because the first one I already typed network. So that should be enough. Again, this network does not have a LAN, so we're not going to have to worry about passive interfaces. So we are done with P2P1. Let's hop over to P2P2. Get to our global configuration. Conf T. We want to do router OSPF 10. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to set passive interfaces for gig 0/0/0. We're going to set passive interfaces for gig /0/1. We're going to set the auto cost reference to 1,000. And we're going to go ahead and paste in our 4 network addresses. Four addresses, yes they are. And we are good. Alright, let's hop over to P2P3. Get to our global configuration. Conf T. Alright, from here, we're going to be doing our interface gig /0/0. We're doing a, oh, no, sorry. We're going to be doing P2P3. Sorry, that should be, I cannot type today. Router OSPF, process 10. We're doing passive interface on gig 0/0/0. We are doing our auto cost reference 1,000. And then we are going to be pasting our 3 networks. So it now has our 3 networks. So the adjacency should be there. So we've done our passive interface, we've done our autocast, we've done our 3 networks. So P2P1, P2P2, P2P3 are now configured. let's hop over to DCB1. Get to our global configuration, Conf-T. From here, first thing I want to do is I want to change the priority. So interface gig 0/0/0. From this, we will be doing IP OSPF priority 255. We'll be doing a IP OSPF 10 area 0. Because again, the second one is configure the interfaces of the network devices to be part of OSPF. So here we're slightly changing the way we set up OSPF. Instead of doing it underneath router OSPF, we can do it underneath interfaces. So from that, we will be going into our serial interface, so interface serial 0/1/0. We're manipulating our timers here. IP OSPF hello timer, we're setting that to 20. IP OSPF dead time to 80. And we're also putting this as IP OSPF 10 area 0. So we've configured those as, instead of network statements, we did it underneath the interface, which that's allowed. Router OSPF B10. One thing that we cannot do is router IDs. So router ID, we're setting this to 6.6.6.6. We are setting a passive interface to our serial 0/1/1. That's going to be our connection to the ISP. We don't need to broadcast our connections out that way. We need to set up our Autocost reference model 1000. And next we need to do our default information originate. Last thing we have to do is set up our default route. So IP route. We want 0.0.0, and we want to send that out serial 0/1/1. So I'm going to do a show IP route. So we are setting our interface. We are having a static route. We are sending everything out there, and we're sending out serial 011, which that is correct. We don't need to worry about the network statements because again we did them underneath the interfaces. So BC1 is taken care of. Let's hop over to BC2. Get to our global configuration, Conf-T. Get to our first interface, so interface gig 0/0/0. Setting IP OSPF 10 area 0. Get back to our interface gig 0/0/1. Put that as IP OSPF area 10 as well. From there, we need to set up our router ID. So get to our router OSPF process ID 10. We will be doing a router ID of 5.5.5.5. We're setting a passive interface for our gig 0/0/0 interface. And we're going to set our Autocost reference 1000. So B2, following these requirements, is now complete. On BC3, almost done. Get to our global configuration, enable, conf t interface gig 0/0/0 IP OSPF10 area 0, get to our gig 001 interface, also program that for IP OSPF area 10 area 0, which we did, exit, router OSPF, process ID 10, we're going to be setting up our router ID to 4.4.4.4. We'll set a passive interface for our gig 0/0/0. Do our Autocost reference bandwidth. And we are done. We've completed all of the requirements. I'm going to give it a few minutes to converge. All right, it should be converged. I'm going to check results. So on BC1, I forgot to do our Autocost. So that's a little weird because I did do Autocosts on them, which that is all right. We're going to go through and we're going to fix these. So BC1, we need to go ahead and set our Autocost. BC1. Alright, that's a little weird because it is there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is do show run. So there is our, again, BC1. That's our addresses. It's part of IP OSPF area 0. Serial 0/1/0, our address, our timers, our area 0, here we have our Autocost reference bandwidth 1000, which that is correct. For whatever reason, it decided it doesn't want to take that. So, router OSPF process 10. Let's go ahead and do no Autocost reference bandwidth. And we're just going to go ahead and reissue the command. Alright, so that's a little weird with the bandwidth. So I'm going to ignore the Autocost for now. Passive interface on BC2. We're going to go ahead and double check that. When I was typing, I fat fingered it, so gig 0/0/0. So that should now be corrected. Now it is. So the Autocost for router ID for area 0 is still showing not correct. And it's odd because it's showing that on all of them. Oh, actually, my bad. When I was doing this, I did 1000 as the Autocost, and I did my math wrong. So it should be router OSPF 10 Autocost reference. It should be 10,000, not 1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on all the routers and get that fixed. enable, nope, I cannot type today, conf t, router, OSPF, process ID 10, Autocost reference, 123, 10,000. Enable, conf t, router, OSPF, process ID 10, auto reference, 10,000. Enable, conf t, router, OSPF, 10, auto reference, 10,000. $10,000, $10,000, $10,000. Now check results. Always double check your math. So we're now showing 51 out of 51, 103 points out of 103 points. Again, yeah, the Autocost, I always do my math in my head. I should have read out the math. But if you have any questions or concerns with this lab, please reach out and let me know. Thank you.